私はあんたの夢なんか信じないんだから。私が信じたのはカサンドラ・イリオンなんだからね。
This latest episode of DanMachi was an incredibly powerful episode. If you've been chilling around the channel and you've been checking out my weekly reviews of DanMachi since Season 4 has launched, Part 1, now Part 2, one of the things that I've kind of said throughout the season is, and I kind of hailed it over and over because I just really want to drive it home, is Cassandra is my favorite character in DanMachi. There's just something about her that's just so compelling with the original story arc of how she kind of got her visions, how her visions are kind of gimped, how her visions are very accurate, but they're not. They allow an autonomy of needing to be kind of decipherable, and how she was kind of gimped by a god to basically have nobody believe her visions are real. So she's always kind of playing this victim isn't the word, but she's kind of always playing this person who's trying to preach something that somebody just simply won't believe. And this episode I thought was incredibly powerful because we finally have a breakthrough moment where her best friend and Daphne still didn't necessarily believe her vision or believe her point or believe her in the sense of her visions being real, but she did believe her friend Cassandra. And I think because, at that moment, like the most badass moment I've ever seen is the ice pillar, I guess like an ice pillar fell down. And because Cassandra knew via her vision this specific moment wasn't her time, she lived long enough to be able to witness the other things within her vision. She knew that this wasn't going to hit her. So she was complete. So she had the most badass moment by allowing it to just fall in front of her and then walk around it and be like, I am telling you. And then just really like this just strong dialogue that's just so powerful. She was like, we need to head east. She talked about her vision specifically, stating, I think, what was the exact thing? That the life-giving sun will lead the way kind of thing. And she finally put it together. The life-giving sun was a direction, northwest, east, east, south kind of thing. It was a direction. It wasn't, more prophetical at that particular moment. And I was like, oh my God, that's a powerful moment. And because of her conviction, she was able to really rally everybody together, but specifically Daphne, and Daphne as more leader type kind of, that more like, this is what we're doing. She was like, we're going either. She just took the F off and beelined it for the 26th floor entrance. And I was, and everybody followed, right? Then you had Aisha going like, what the hell? You had, you had Wolf, you had everybody that's like, okay, well, let's go. Obviously you had Haruhime and Mikoto. Thank God they lived. And I had a feeling, it's one of those things, like I had a feeling that they might live, but at the same time, like this anime has now showed me that it's not afraid to go to one of your characters. I'm like, yeah, I love kind of being on edge of like knowing that nobody's really safe. Like somebody could, perish in a certain way. You know what I mean? I like that sense of like anxiety there because it makes for good viewing. So I really enjoy that. Now, thankfully, like I said, they did in fact make it, so that was a huge net positive for us. And both of them are very concerned with Belle, so they're like, we need to head down, we need to go further, we need to go down to the 26th floor, we need to go save Belle. So they were able to do that, and then they kind of head there. And as they were running to the 26th floor, I thought it was incredible that we saw everything kind of fall apart. We saw Turk and his group fall from the tree. They're dead. And I was like, okay, that is really cool. And then you had Aisha's moment. I was like, I don't want to think about what the hell just happened. We made it, though. That's all that matters. So really, really love that, too. The other thing that I really liked about the episode as well, they did it a little bit last week, but Aisha and her dirty sailor mouth, I literally wrote down, like, oh, my God, the vulgarity. Because last week, I thought maybe the subtitle just got it wrong, but no, she was like effing off, blah, 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 I'm gonna kill you, blah, 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 blah. So I thought that was really, really cool. And then the other thing is, during the fight with, Aisha and Lily and the group, I really, really have to commend the studio here. Like, they killed it. They crushed it, you know what I mean? Like, Studio JC staff, like, they absolutely crushed this episode. And they were able to have, like, the fight scene between the two-headed dragon and them, like, but behemoth, Bahama, whatever the hell it was called. I don't know. It dropped some meat. Lily was excited about it. But that fight scene, like, was incredibly animated. Like, the zooms, the pans, the camera pans, the zoom ins, the perfect cuts. I was like, oh my God. You know, when Makoto was down there just, jitsu, you know what I mean? Like, taking the two-headed, the dragon down. Then you had, our big boy with this axe come down and slice off a head. You had Aisha get powered up by Haru. I was like, oh my God. Like, I was like, get him. Like, it was so well animated. Like, I was hype zone this episode. Like, it was so good. Like, it was just, I don't know. I can't express enough on how much, like, it was just, like, so breathtaking to watch. And I was like, wow, they crushed the animation this episode. Like, they really went above and beyond in my mind, this episode. And they really, like, they crushed it. So I just want to, give some praise there and say, hey, like, this episode was, like, fantastic. Outside of them, going to 26th floor and doing all that stuff too, we also have a little bit of the initiation of what happened last week between Belle and Ryu, allowing Belle to sleep for a little bit. She was able to take out 2 of the 3 monsters that attacked, so I was just surprised that she was able to even kind of conjure up the energy and vigor to really do that. So she was able to do that, and then she gave Belle a good 3 to 5 to be able to kind of catch his breath a little bit and, rest for a few minutes before they move on to their next step. And now it's Belle's turn to kind of allow her, a good 3 to 5 to kind of, catch her breath and sleep for a second as well, too. So I thought that was really cool. And then, one of the other things I was really, really worried about is in the OP and description, a lot of this was focused on the party that Ryu used to be with. And I was really concerned that they were going to kind of dedicate and put us in episodes that was just backstory, and we weren't going to get any forward movement in the current situation. But thankfully, this episode has shown me that we will get her backstory. We will get her and her origination, her party, and probably the end of her party. But we will get it in little bite-sized flashbacks during major things that are occurring. And if they continue to do that, I think that they're going to absolutely nail it. If they dedicate a full 1 to 2 to 3 episodes on just her and her backstory, I gotta be honest, like, they don't exist anymore. So I don't need to go and, be a fan of anybody that they all died. You know what I mean? So I don't really care about her backstory too much. Like, so on a personal level, I'm more concerned with what this main story pushed forward. So I am okay with how they're doing it, and I think they're nailing it, because if they go too deep into it, I just simply don't care. So it's kind of my thoughts there. But overall, I think this 10 out of 10 episode. This was masterpiece level. Like, this was a really, really good episode. And that's kind of how I felt. So let me know what you guys thought of this episode down in the comments below. As always, I appreciate you guys being here for another week. You can't fight me on it, Cassandra's best girl. And let me know what your final thoughts are in the comments. And my friends, I'll see you guys next week. Peace.